Coach, the 24-hour rule, how hard is that to enforce after the way that you guys won the game on Saturday?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, certainly, you want to move on, but then everybody else is talking about it because of the Hail Mary play, which is unique. It doesn't happen very often. You're lucky to have one every 5 years, right? So that's okay. I think our guys are mature enough to handle it. As coaches, we'll make sure they're focused in practice today, and if they're not, we'll get it corrected. But I think we got a pretty mature group, so they know how important this next one is.
You've gone against Mike McIntyre a handful of times. Give us an idea what you can expect out of his program.
This kid's always played hard everywhere he's been. He's an experienced guy, got a good staff. I know some of their coaches. He's in a great area to recruit. They've gotten good players. I think they've gotten better every year he's been there. So, and they've had, which is really unique, 16 days. I mean, more than 2 weeks to get ready for this one. So we got to be prepared for a little bit of everything and know that they're going to be fresh and ready to go.
Questions for Coach?
How much do you all work that Hail Mary scenario in practice, and how did it play out compared to how you work it?
Well, we work it once every week, usually on Thursday at the end of practice. And, there's the different philosophies on how to protect it first off, because that's the first thing you got to have is the protection so the quarterback can launch it. And then the location where he throws it, we always wanted to be 5 yards deep in the end zone, which was almost exactly 5 yards deep in the end zone with some height, so it was a great throw. And then we usually have three guys, one in front of the goal line, one in the middle, and one in the back. And then the jumpers is usually where Cam was at. He was the jumper. When they were so congested in there that he wound up being right behind them, and they misjudged the ball. So we'll work on it once a week, and every week we'll keep working on it. And who knows, like I said, you can go years without using it. I think I had it one other time. It was 10 years ago, I think it was, and I was at Arizona, and we had Cal, and we got it then too. So normally you won't get one in a lifetime. I've gotten two, so maybe I've been coaching too long.
Do you work defensively on that play?
Oh yeah, and then on the flip side, you work on the Hail Mary defense, and there's different philosophies defensively. Like, some people drop off 8. Some people like to bring more pressure to force the quarterback to throw it quicker. And stuff like that. So there's a couple of different ways to defend it, but always, if the ball gets thrown in the end zone, there's also do they bat it down or they try to catch it. Sometimes when you try to catch it, you tip it up, but sometimes when you try to bat it down, you miss it. So, there's different philosophies on doing that. But, everybody talked about when the Bears, a couple weeks ago have it. It's just a rare occurrence, and, but you got to prepare for that, just like you got to prepare for, a last play field goal or last play on the 1 yard line, whatever that may be as well.
For defense, do you prefer batting it down or catching it?
Good question. I prefer getting a tall guy that can jump up higher than everybody. I don't want to jump up with short guys, So I prefer a tall guy that can go up and grab the ball. That's my preference.
Just for Huff, just to be able to, it was 60 yards in the air, and it wasn't in a line drive. It was an arc and throw. Just to have
that was the throw is always the biggest. I mean, gotta get the problem for that. I don't know if Pet was in there, or I don't know who we had at the wideouts, but we had just run 2 or 3 pass plays, and they were a little bit gassed and tired because we were running verticals, and so you got to have time for those wideouts to be able to run down there and get in position. That's why the throw has to be high anyway, not for any other reason, just to get your wideouts down there. But the throw was perfect. I mean, it was exactly what you draw it up to be.
What was your mindset as you're watching that?
I didn't even see it. I mean, I saw the reaction from the guys in the goal line, and then I'm like, oh man, that's. So I was like, oh gosh, then I'm now we got to make an extra point. My first thought was getting everybody off the field because I didn't want to get a 15-yard penalty. I had to make a deeper extra point. And then we missed the extra point. But typically you'd think, well, I'd be like cussing out the kicker or something. But because you guys will know our special teams playbook has 2 pages for kickers. Page 1, make the damn kick. Page 2, period. That's for the kickers. But anyway, I didn't get all upset about it because I knew at least we got in overtime. I'm like, geez, we're lucky to be in overtime, And I feel good about our guys in overtime, so I wasn't overly upset with the people. How would you react to the kicking? I mean, Rip's been pretty solid. So, but you know, we were fortunate that doesn't happen very often, and so we didn't coach that well, didn't play that well, but we got a win, and we're happy about it. And it's over now, but I know other people we've been talking about all week, but we're all on I'm all on FIU right now.
What challenges do they bring for you guys?
Who's that?
FIU.
FIU. Well, one, they're going to be fresh and healthy. I think they're better in all phases, and in their program, I got a lot of respect for Mike and his staff. The quarterback is playing well. They got one of the best wideouts in the country. I think I don't know how many yards he had in that one game, a couple hundred yards. And so it's a challenge. And then we have, and as I told our team, the more you win, the more is at stake. And so every week now we're playing for a conference championship, really, and every week. So we have a lot at stake.
So what would it mean to possibly be able to bring, in year 2 of being in USA, to bring the championship game to Info Stadium?
Yeah, I really even talked about that because just, you know, the last game was, okay, you win, you get to 6, you got bowl eligibility. So we did that. You know, now you win, you're moving into conference championship game potential. Get that first, and then if you get that, then you go from there. So I think the way the season's lined out, we started off so poorly, but they weren't in conference games. And so when we got to conference play, I don't want to say it was a new start, but it was kind of a fresh kind of idea of, okay, let's we still got a lot at stake in the season. Because typically when you start off like we did, you know, people will be, oh gosh, there goes the season, and we just did everything the same we do every week.
Is it hard to keep your guys from looking ahead?
Probably. I mean, I think it's harder now than normally because of social media and everything that's out there. Before you could, you know, guy would have to buy, you know, back when they printed newspapers, they'd have to go buy a newspaper, which they're not going to do that. And, you know, or they have to hear something from somebody on campus, and the other students aren't buying newspapers either. They're just, you know, so it's probably a little bit more now, but I don't worry about it too much because the way we do things, the way we practice, it's going to be pretty intense. I mean, I'll still be angry half the time, you know, jumping on them. But I think we got good leadership, and I think we got enough seniors that'll make sure our guys stay focused.
You talk about even like you have 60 newcomers now. Some of them are maybe seniors or juniors.
Right.
But just how important are the veterans that have been here? Maybe some of those newcomers who are, you know, 50-year guys.
Yeah, and I think it goes by each room they have. Like Pat's got to take in his room. You know, he's got to take charge of his leadership, and not just the slot receivers, but when he's around the other receivers. You know, when J Rock's around the D lineman, he's the veteran. He's been around here forever, and you know, he played one of his best games. Well, he'll make sure their help stay focused. And I've said this before. I don't worry about leadership during practice or when the coaches are around, because hell, that's our job. You know, we're supposed to provide that kind of leadership. It's when we're not around, when they're in the locker room or they're around campus, where they got to make sure the players are focused. I'm talking about, you know, they're getting their rest. Are they eating right? Are they doing all the right things? And so that part of it is when you need to have that leadership. And you know, I've been fortunate in all 3 years here. It's been the senior classes have really taken a hold of that.
Well, J-Rock, how nice was it for him to kind of get that sack to clinch the game for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we were playing a run defense, thinking they were going to run it. Then we stemmed down into a gap defense, and they wound up throwing it. And J-Rock made a nice move inside, and it was good. It was kind of neat that the defense made the play to win the game. You know, the offense made the play to tie it, and the defense made the play to win the game. So that was pretty neat.
The play on the safety with Jack, is that something that he's coached to do?
Yeah, we actually work on bad snaps, usually low snaps, so they don't try to field it by taking a knee. You know, some take a knee and then all of a sudden your ball's down right there, right? So we work on that, but the high ones, you know, I don't know if they've worked on that a little bit, but we had talked about it because Jack came to the sidelines. He said, Coach, I was just going to try to pick it up and kick it, because if you have nobody coming, you get a good bounce, you can turn around and just punt the ball down there. And he said, I was going to do that, but I saw the guy right behind me. And I said, no, you made the right decision, because there was the ball. First off, the ball wasn't bouncing up, and second off, there was a guy right behind him. So, you know, and even though it gave him the lead, you know, it kept it from being 7 points instead of, you 2 points.
You mentioned their wideout. How good is he compared to other people you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story. I guess he went there, or was a walk-on, was a DB first, and then, you know, he's got great ball skills, is one of the fastest guys on the field. So, you know, our corner's gonna get challenged. We've played against good ones all year, and they've got a quarterback that was highly recruited, started as a true freshman last year, kind of found his groove, I think, in the last few weeks. So, and then again, with 16 days to prepare, there's gonna be some stuff that our defense will see that they haven't shown. And the same thing is true with our offense. We're gonna see some stuff defensively, I'm sure we haven't seen from them all year, that we just gotta adjust to.
Along those lines, Coach, can you share a little bit about what you've seen from the secondary coming up with some big plays and interceptions when you needed them?
Yeah, it's been, Jameer Latimer has been consistent all year, and he made, a couple plays. He's made some plays. When you're playing man coverage, it's hard to play the ball, and you gotta wait till the wide receiver turns and looks and puts his hands up, and he did all that, and it was really neat. And we have some athletic guys in the secondary, and they've gotten challenged, and we sometimes put them under pressure. We put them in some man situations where they got a guard, and they're playing against some good quarterbacks. So, this is going to be a big test for them. And we've been playing a lot of DBs. We've rolled a lot of guys in there, so they're going to get a chance this weekend for sure.
I guess the information talks is you guys are going to play every 20 seconds last week, including that for a 17-play drive in just like 6 minutes, which is, a lot of people, I'm sure you liked it, but it's kind of just weird to read 17 plays, 6 out of 3 or whatever it was.
Yeah, we don't usually have the long time in a drive. The 17-play drive is typically, if you've got to take 17 plays, and most teams will say, wow, if they got to take that many plays, they're going to screw up somewhere along the line. Somebody will miss a block or have a penalty. And so it takes a lot of discipline to run a 17-play drive. I've never, in a time-wise, our tempo is pretty good, of course, but I think it can still be faster. But there's been, when there's an injury or penalty or whatever the case may be, it's just going to slow us down a little bit. But that drive, the way they were playing us, forced you to take small chunks at a time. You didn't have a chance to get big chunks the way the structure of their defense was. So it means we have to be, and this week could be the same thing. So we got to be extremely disciplined to not have negative yardage plays or penalties.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Coming up as soon as you get back. Michael, come on up. Senior wide receiver Michael Petway. Michael, Coach mentioned the more you win, the more is at stake. You're one of the veterans of this group. How do you keep the group focused on the next game at hand?
Just taking it one day at a time, really. It's exciting to be able to play for these big games, stuff like that, but we just got to take it one game at a time, one day at a time, one practice at a time. We can't really get too high in the moment, and we can't really get too low. We just kind of got to be even.
Share a little bit about the resiliency of your group. Down late in that game, on the road, and you guys come up with a big play and win it in overtime. Did you learn a little bit something about this group, or did you figure that resiliency was always there?
I think it was always there. I think it kind of just shows what kind of team we are. Just from, if you look at the beginning of the season, how it kind of started, and things, didn't really look too good. They counted us out, doubted us, all this and that. I kind of think that played a little bit of a factor into that game a little bit. We started off great. It was good, and then they started coming back, and it just showed how this team can keep their composure. Guys didn't really get too high, get too low. We just did what we were supposed to. Did our job. I'm sorry.
Questions for Michael?
Yeah, sure. What's going through your head on that final play of regulation?
Well, I was right here in front, where Huff threw the ball. So I just saw him just get hit. I honestly, as soon as I saw that, it kind of the ball being thrown kind of just left my head. I was just dang, he just took a big hit. He just wasn't protected. But when I like kind of heard everybody like celebrating, jumping up and down, I was like, whoa, like somebody just catch that? Like what just happened? It was kind of crazy, but no, that was an awesome moment just to be a part of. Really, like that was really cool.
So how do you think you guys have kind of gotten the focus on FIU just after, you know, a very high win like that?
Kind of just like what Coach says, really just that 24-hour rule, you know. We enjoyed the moment, we enjoyed it Sunday, but pretty much yesterday, you know, like we get our minds kind of on the FIU, and really today, you know, like last week is over with, we're on the FIU now.
Well, talk a little bit about kind of the selfless nature of this wide receiver group. Coach has talked a number of times about your willingness to block, your willingness to play just about any position on the field. It seems like it's a really selfless group that's willing to do whatever it takes to win.
For sure. Every wide receiver, every tight end, every running back as well. I mean, we just kind of understand like this is a team like sport, team game, you know, like it's gonna be some weeks where maybe this wideout has a great game and maybe this wideout doesn't, and it's gonna be a game where Huff may run for 300 and Trey may run for 300, but like, I mean, at the end of the day, if we're getting the win and everybody's doing their job, I mean, that's the end goal. I mean, we're all trying to get to a conference championship. I mean, we just got bowl eligible. We're trying to win that as well. So, I mean, it's just kind of the bigger picture of everything. But, I mean, every guy in both rooms, all these rooms, like they are very selfless, very team-oriented guys.
Couple more from Mike? If not,
Oh, have you ever been part of that before, a Hail Mary that gets caught like that? Have you ever seen that as a player?
To get caught like that, no, but I was a part of the Hail Mary when we played Florida State a couple of years ago, but like that was the way that ended was completely different. I think this one was actually like way more crazier. Like that was just the way that like it just landed in Cam's hand, like it was just like wow, like just like that, but nah, it was cool.
Have you seen the film? Have you seen the film of the play?
Yeah.
It looks like nobody realized it was drifting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was just like Cam was just like looking at it and was just like, oh wow, it's right there. Nah, that was kind of crazy though.
Just to be in this room, so on, just for them to talk about, you guys could be hosting a conference title game at the FBS level. What does that mean? Just over the last few years of the rise here.
I know for me and for the guys that have been here, especially when Richard got here, I know it's going to mean a lot because, I mean, he built this place into what it is now, and, you know, it's still growing. But, I mean, from what this place used to be to where it is now, it would mean so much, especially for us seniors. I know that for a fact.
awesome. Thanks so much for your time today, Mike.
Thank y'all.
Thank you all for being here.